Now it's time to question answer session. So I will hand over to the Purnima ma'am. Ma'am, please handle the question answer session.
Yes, thank you Aarti for anchoring today's program. And as it is clear, जैसे हम सबको समझा होगा कि डिमेंशिया का डायग्नोसिस करना भी बहुत आसान चीज़ नहीं है, स्पेशली अगर पेशेंट बहुत पहले पहले दौर में हमारे पास आता है, जब डिमेंशिया जस्ट शुरू हुआ है या उसको हल्का सा अंदाज आया है कि कहीं मुझे हुआ तो नहीं, ऐसे दौर में डायग्नोसिस कर पाना भी मुश्किल है और वहाँ न्यूरोसाइकोलॉजिस्ट की बहुत ज़रूरत पड़ती है। और न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट, साइकियाट्रिस्ट दोनों ही डिमेंशिया की ट्रीटमेंट करते हैं। साइकियाट्रिस्ट के पास ज़्यादातर डिमेंशिया जाता है पेशेंट्स। मल्टी इन्फार्क्ट स्ट्रोक्स जो है अलग बहुत सारे स्ट्रोक्स होने की वजह से डिमेंशिया हुआ, वो कई बार न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट के पास ही आता है। हमारे पास मिक्स डिमेंशिया भी आते हैं। तो बेसिकली डिमेंशिया, मैनेजिंग डिमेंशिया इज अ टीम अप्रोच, किसी एक व्यक्ति का काम नहीं है ये। And as Dr. Dhananjay has mentioned very clearly in his talk, केयर गिवर पर हमारा हमेशा ध्यान रहता है कि जो डिमेंशिया के पेशेंट का ख्याल रख रहा है उस व्यक्ति का हमें ख्याल रखना पड़ता है। सो केयरिंग फॉर द केयर गिवर इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जब हम ट्रीटमेंट देते हैं किसी डिमेंशिया के व्यक्ति को। सो इट इज मोर ऑफ अ फैमिली विद डिमेंशिया रादर देन पर्सन विद डिमेंशिया। हम इस तरह से सोचते हैं कि इट्स अ फैमिली विद डिमेंशिया। So now we move to the question answer session, and I will be directing the questions as the way they have been phrased. तो ये पहला क्वेश्चन है मिस बाय सोनाली विज, what is the best way to practice in adulthood to keep your brain away from dementia? So Dr. Dhananjay, would you like to answer this? Prevention of dementia के लिए बोला है उन्होंने.
Okay, so there are some things which have a lot of scientific evidence that we can do to prevent dementia. First and foremost is physical activity and exercise. Very, very important. We must not ignore this. This is the highest evidence. Whether it's the Lancet review or whether it's the World Health Organization guidelines, physical exercise is one of the most important things. After that, management of hypertension. Control your blood pressure properly, take your medicines for blood pressure, diabetic control, take care of your diabetes, that is very important. Stay away from smoking, stay away from alcohol. Obesity is a risk factor, so keep a tab on your weight. Be socially active. In this era, it is a little difficult to be in social functions, but you can always use Zoom and other apps and other facilities to stay connected. So being socially connected also reduces the risk. Another very important thing is lifelong learning. That builds your cognitive reserve. So very important that you keep learning all your life. Just a degree, say I have a fellowship or a MD at the age of say 30, 40, whatever, and then I don't do anything. That does not build cognitive reserve. We must continue to learn all our life. That builds cognitive result and that protects us to some extent from dementia. After that, general good health is very, very important. So take care of your health. In India, there is a certain issue with vitamin B12 deficiency in vegetarian diet, and also among food, make sure that your trans fats in your diet are low. So saturated fats and trans fats are not brain healthy. The rest of the fats, so you have to understand what fats are healthy. So diet plays an important role. Another two important things are hearing. Hearing impairment in middle age or elderly also predisposes one. So it is a risk factor. And one which has emerged more and more strongly recently is depression. So especially middle life and late life depression predispose one to dementia. So proper recognition, proper diagnosis and timely treatment of depression also helps one in preventing dementia. Again, I will go back to the original healthy lifestyle and exercise. We Indians are not generally physically active. So very, very important that we are physically active and we exercise as much as possible as per doctor's advice. And the last mantra I would like to give is whatever is good for your heart is good for your brain. Means whatever is good for your heart is also going to help your brain and help you prevent dementia. So one small misconception is that, certain computer games or certain small games on the paper, they will help you protect your brain. No, they help you in nothing. I play one computer game that will help me only in that domain. So physical activity and the rest of the things that I have told you are very, very important. Stay active all your life, and that will help you in prevention of dementia. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering that question so extensively. Now, the next question is for Saili as well as Dr. Dhananjay. So, as a caregiver, how can I identify my mother's problem? She is 75 years plus. Nowadays, she is forgetting few words during phone conversation. So, she is living in another city, and the daughter, Mrs. Sandhya, who was asked the question, she's in another city, and on the phone, she has started noticing कि कुछ words बोलने में problem हो रही है. So how, and can I prevent her from having dementia now if she is developing one? So Dr. Dhananjay, and then I would like Saili also to give her view on this.
First, all the things that I said are also applicable in preventing rapid deterioration of dementia. So we should not have a fatalistic attitude कि एक बार diagnosis हो गया तो कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. Proper medication, do put a break. Physical activity, proper control of all other illnesses, do put a break on the decline in patient. So it's not that once it is diagnosed, there is nothing to be gained. All these things do matter. That is first. Second, talk to someone who is staying with your mother and ask them to compare. And ask them to compare her mental health, her level of cognition, intelligence, intellectual capacity to how she was 10, 20 years back. And if there is a decline, then you need to consult a psychiatrist or a neurologist or a psychologist who is trained in this field, like Ms. Kulkarni. So go to a specialist and get her checked, which is because from what you say, there is definitely some impairment in her language. So find out if there is impairment in memory also. Find out if there is other impairment. Get her all medical, whatever lab tests have been done, whatever medical histories, whatever current medications are. So there will be a comprehensive picture that the clinician will look at, and then if needed, he will involve a clinical psychologist, or you can go to a clinical psychologist and the clinical psychologist will then refer to a physician, because we need a holistic approach. So I will hand it over now to Ms. Kulkarni.
Okay. So basically, I think Dr. Chauhan guided them about this, but what she can do is she should try to understand what the problems are, note down in what areas the problems she is facing her mother, and maybe basic screening. अगर caregiver को समझ में आ रहा है basically कि there are certain problems in maybe memory or behavior, then she should direct the patient to a neurologist, and accordingly basic screening should be done as early as possible, so that a complete comprehensive neuropsychological workup can be done, and we can understand what is the diagnosis.
Yes. Thank you, Saili. Thank you, Dr. Dhananjay. Neurologist and psychiatrist, we both screen these patients. As a neurologist, I would also get her B12 levels and thyroid functions done, because that is one of the common things we find in that age group, which can mimic something like dementia. So that is just one point to highlight. The next question is, there are lots of questions now. So next question is dementia hereditary? So Dr. Dhananjay, would you like to address this?
Okay. Yeah. Now, since dementia is an umbrella term, yeah, there are certain dementias which have some genetic component. So dementias not all dementias are hereditary. Hereditary term is also a sort of misnomer, because even if I have genes, it's not necessary that I will get the illness. So that is also important to remember, and that is why these preventive strategies are so important. It is good to know that there are countries where, because of general health improvement and overall education of the masses, especially Scandinavian countries, are finding a reduction in dementia in certain age groups. So that is a good sign for us. Generally speaking, early onset Alzheimer's has more genetic component. Later onset Alzheimer's has much lesser genetic component. There is also another question that has come: if my mother has it, then will my father have it? They are not genetically related, so that's not going to happen. We should not worry too much about the genetic component if we are going to pay attention to basics: exercise, blood pressure control, diabetes control, staying away from tobacco, smoking, alcohol, and treating depression. So that's the answer in short. This is a very extensive topic. And related to this, there is also a question about genetic testing. So genetic testing is to be done only when there is proper counseling of the patient. Otherwise, genetic testing, oftentimes patients think that this testing is going to help me, but we have to know, we have to be clear-eyed about what do we expect from this testing. So before we go for any genetic testing, there has to be a proper counseling by a trained genetic counselor. So that is important. And I think Purnima ma'am, some questions you can also take up and answer. They would also like to hear you. Okay, please go on. Please go on.
So as sir has said, genetics, and the other part which Dr. Dhananjay has referred to was epigenetics. मतलब वातावरण का इन्फ्लुएंस भी हमारे जीन्स पर होता है. हम जो हमारा लाइफ जीते हैं, तो लाइफस्टाइल कैन ऑल्सो डिसाइड to change the expression of our genes. So that is a science known as epigenetics, influence of environment on our genes. So and as sir said that genetic testing में भी एथिकल इश्यूज भी बहुत है कि अगर मुझे आज समझा कि मुझे होने वाला है अल्जाइमर्स, समझो, सो विल आई बी डिप्रेस्ड, सो डिप्रेस्ड कि मुझे 60 साल की उम्र में होने की जगह 55 साल में ही हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट एम आई गोइंग टू डू, एज सर सेड, व्हाट एम आई गोइंग टू डू विद दैट रिपोर्ट, दैट इज द इशू. So we have to be really very, very careful. Now the next question is something we very commonly see for frontotemporal dementia patients suffer from urinary incontinence. Is there a way of stopping or getting rid of it? So in my practice, what I do is, let me be clear first कि ये urinary incontinence अलग तरह का urinary incontinence रहता है. This is called as social disinhibition. So in this what happens is कि patient को फर्क नहीं महसूस होता bathroom में और किसी और room में. So it doesn't matter where the urine is being passed. So one of the strategies I recommend to the caregivers is that जैसे हम छोटे बच्चों को bladder training करवाते हैं, वैसे हर 2-2.5 घंटे में पेशेंट को बाथरूम में लेके ही जाना है और सुसु करवानी है. But of course what I am saying sounds extremely simple, but in real life it becomes very difficult. So sometimes we do have to catheterize the patients also, but catheterization and maintaining that catheter can also be very challenging to the caregivers. Diapers now are very easily available. तो diapers लगवाने से भी ये problem हल हो सकता है. Combination करना पड़ता है इन सारी चीजों का. और bladder training persuade करके patient को मराठी में जो है त्यांच्या कलाने घ्यायचं. तो उनके अंदाज से जाकर थोड़ा बहुत अगर ब्लैडर ट्रेनिंग हम करवा सकते हैं तो दैट इज बेटर. टॉयलेट चेयर्स भी हैं अभी, पॉटी चेयर्स, सो पेशेंट नीड नॉट बी टेकन ऑल द वे टू द बाथरूम, कैन बी मेड टू सिट ऑन दैट अडल्ट पॉटी चेयर. एंड सम मेडिकेशंस आर अवेलेबल बट विच कैन बी यूज्ड फॉर नाइट टाइम. एंड रात के लिए भी मेरी प्रैक्टिस में मैं ये एडवाइस देती हूँ कि शाम के 8 बजे के बाद पानी कम देना और सोने के 2 घंटे बाद अलार्म लगा के उनको उठा के take him to the toilet, because the rate of formation of urine is different across the night. first 2 hours the urine formed is more and then the urine formed is less and less. तो इस तरह से थोड़े बदलाव करके लाइफस्टाइल में हम ये मैनेज कर सकते हैं. और medications are only for the night time dosages which we avoid using unless required. Dr. Dhananjay, would you want to add something to this?
No, please continue. You have answered it, and we have a lot many questions. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Another question now. This is a patient I know also. So my mother has vitamin B12 induced frontotemporal dementia. We 3 siblings are vitamin B12 deficient too. So is there a chance we will get this disease, and what precautions should we take? तो ये B12 deficiency induced frontotemporal dementia नहीं है. First of all, that is a comorbidity. मतलब frontotemporal dementia उनको है, प्लस उनको B12 deficiency हमारी डिटेक्ट हुई थी. So by correcting the B12 deficiency, we have solved some of her medical aspects of her dementia. मगर फ्रंटोटेम्पोरल जो उनके बिहेवियर प्रॉब्लम्स है, जो जिद है उनकी, ये सब चीजें उनकी फ्रंटोटेम्पोरल की वजह से है, डिमेंशिया की वजह से है, जो B12 डेफिशिएंसी करेक्ट करने के बाद भी बनी रही. So FTD is one diagnosis and B12 deficiency is a comorbid diagnosis which can add to the symptoms of dementia. और दूसरी बात, आप तीनों सिबलिंग्स अगर B12 डेफिशिएंट हो तो उसकी वजह से आपको डिमेंशिया अब होने के चांसेस नहीं है, क्योंकि आपको समझ में आ गया और आप B12 पीरियोडिकली चेक करते हो और आप सप्लीमेंट्स भी लोगे. तो आई डोंट थिंक दैट विल हैपन नाउ, बिकॉज नाउ यू हैव लर्न टू बी केयरफुल. तो दिस इज अनदर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन द ब्रेन कॉग्निशन, क्योंकि आपने ऑलरेडी आपके एनवायरमेंट में चेंजेस ला लिए, आप टेस्ट कर रहे हो और रिप्लेसमेंट भी लोगे. देन नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन वी विल गो टू, समटाइम्स व्हाइल डूइंग अ पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी some other thoughts come in mind and we completely forget the previous activity for some time. So is it a symptom of dementia? Sonal, would you like to answer this?
Not always that could be a dementia syndrome, but if the person who is showing difficulty in doing the daily jobs or handling some simple tasks and they are consistent, that is important to be a kind of precursors, because we also tend to forget, we also tend to misplace, we also tend to make mistakes. So what is normal forgetfulness, normal mistake versus a benign versus a typical pathological? So that is also important. I see many people with the anxiety, with a lot of multitasking, they do make mistakes. So understanding that what is normal is abnormal and how to view it from the lenses, that's for to see. What do you think, ma'am? What do you comment on that?
Yes, thank you, Sonal. So mild cognitive impairment is also not dementia, but we have to follow up those patients की हल्का problem जिनको है उनको भी हम follow up के लिए रखते हैं. और another point I would like to highlight here that multitasking, हम आजकल मल्टीटास्किंग के ज़माने में जी रहे हैं, तो हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें एक साथ सोचते हैं और उसकी वजह से बहुत जंबल अप हो जाता है हमारा. इट इज़ जस्ट लाइक कीपिंग मेनी एप्लीकेशंस ऑन, आपके डेस्कटॉप पे रनिंग रखते हो आप और फिर कंप्यूटर हैंग हो जाता है. जैसे ही आप एक एक एप्लीकेशन बंद करते हो तो क्लैरिटी आती है डेस्कटॉप को. सेम थिंग हैपेंस. तो स्टॉप मल्टीटास्किंग, स्टार्ट मैनेजिंग योर टाइम. वक्त को मैनेज करना सीखो और मल्टीटास्किंग अवॉइड कीजिए. तो मल्टीटास्किंग की वजह से ये हमको फीलिंग आता है कि कहीं मुझे प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं हो रहा. So that is one thing. Then next question is there any connection between migraine and dementia? So कुछ पेपर्स अभी हैं जो कनेक्शन ढूंढ रहे हैं, मगर जैसे डिमेंशिया इज अ सिंड्रोम, बहुत सारे अलग अलग प्रकारों को एक छत के नीचे बांधा हुआ है, वैसे माइग्रेन का भी है. माइग्रेन के भी बहुत सारे प्रकार है. कॉमन माइग्रेन इज वेरी कॉमन एंड क्लासिक माइग्रेन है, कॉम्प्लेक्स माइग्रेन है, हेमीप्लेजिक माइग्रेन है. तो जो जितना माइग्रेन ज्यादा सीवियर है और अगर उसकी ट्रीटमेंट नहीं ली, सो एक्सपीरियंस्ड माइग्रेन अटैक्स विच आर अनकंट्रोल्ड विल ऑलवेज बी अ रिस्क फैक्टर फॉर सम थिंग्स. मगर अगर आपका माइग्रेन आपने टाइम पे ट्रीट किया हो और उसकी आप ट्रीटमेंट ले रहे हो, उसको प्रिवेंट कर रहे हो, और माइग्रेन के लिए भी लगने वाले जो हेल्दी लाइफस्टाइल ऑप्शंस है वो सेम लाइफस्टाइल ऑप्शंस है जो डिमेंशिया प्रिवेंट करने के लिए है. रेगुलर एक्सरसाइज, गुड शेड्यूल ऑफ योर डे, गुड डाइट, So all these things are going to help you. So if your migraine is being controlled properly, then it will not be connected to dementia. So experienced and uncontrolled migraine, frequent migraine, that will be more important. Then next question we are going to take. Mr. Samrat More has asked, food eating habits are affected, as in eating fast, eating 4-5 bites in one go. My mother has mild dementia as a diagnosis in March 20. Is it possible to develop Parkinson's symptoms anytime soon? So first part, I think Sonal, you can answer this. Food eating habits are affected, eating fast, eating 4-5 bites in one go. तो उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं?
So few types of dementias, they start having a sweet tooth development where they go on eating sweets, and which could be abnormal for few who earlier did not much eat sweets. Sometimes person with dementia in an early stage will actually eat so much and they will not swallow easily. मतलब वो क्या करता है कि एक निवाला उन्हें निगला भी नहीं और फिर दूसरा तीसरा और जल्दी जल्दी फूड मुंह में रख देते हैं, पॉकेट कर देते हैं. सो ये भी डिफिकल्टी होती है डिमेंशिया पेशेंट में कि वो कब रेगुलेट करे, कब कंट्रोल करे, कितना खाए, कितना उठाए, कितना मुंह में ठूसे और उसको कैसे चबाए. सो आपको देखना है कि अगर माइल्ड डिमेंशिया है और उसको इतना डिसएग्जीक्यूटिव सिंड्रोम्स है जहाँ पे वो जल्दी से चबा नहीं पाते हैं, जल्दी से समझ नहीं पाता है कि उनको निगलना है, उसके बाद में दूसरा निवार लेना है, तो आप क्या करो, उनपे देखो कि उनको बोलो कि ठीक है पहले आप ये खाओ, उसके बाद में आप उनको अलग निवार दो. ऐसे नहीं है कि आप उनको बहुत ज्यादा टोके, लेकिन सेंसरी क्यूज आप उनको दिखाओ, बताओ कि नहीं पहले कंप्लीट करो और फिर दूसरा निवार लो. आपको देखना है कि अगर उन्हें ज्यादा आदत पड़ गई है कि बहुत जल्दी जल्दी खाए, तो वो अगर अटक गया गले में तो उससे एस्पिरेशन निमोनिया हो सकता है. अगर वही खाना आपके फूड पाइप में नहीं तो विंड पाइप में, मतलब खाने की अन्न नलिका में जाना चाहिए खाना, लेकिन वो अगर सांस लेने के नलिके में गया. सो ये भी देखना इम्पोर्टेंट है और ये काफी सीरियस डिमेंशिया सिम्टम है. पार्किंसंस, फ्रंटोटेम्पोरल डिमेंशिया, मॉडरेट अल्जाइमर्स पेशेंट, non-fluent aphasias, corticobasal dementias, इन डिमेंशियाज में ये दिक्कतें काफी जल्दी आ सकती है. और काफी पेशेंट जहाँ जिनको स्ट्रोक आ गया है, पहले ही उनका क्रैनियल नर्व्स जो निगलना, चबाना, उसके बाद में बात करना, सो ये रेगुलेशन भी और एक क्रैनियल नर्व डिस्फंक्शन भी, वो ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा दिक्कत होती है निगलने में, जब उनको डिमेंशिया भी हो सकता है, जैसे कि कॉग्निशन, मतलब उनका बिहेवियर भी अफेक्ट होता है. तब जाके फेशियल डेविएशन, उनका वीकनेस, पैरालिसिस और एक कॉग्निशन, लॉस ऑफ कॉग्निशन, लॉस ऑफ मेमोरी, ये दोनों मिलकर बहुत ही ज्यादा डिमेंशिया, डिस्फेजिया, मतलब खाने की दिक्कतें डिमेंशिया में आ सकती है, दिख सकती है. Was that okay, ma'am? Or you want me to add something more?
No, that was okay. Now this is in two parts, this question. My mother has mild dementia as a diagnosis in March 20. Is it possible to develop Parkinson's symptoms anytime soon? हर डिमेंशिया में पार्किंसंस नहीं होता और हर पार्किंसंस में भी डिमेंशिया नहीं होता. तो ये एक अलग सबसेट है बीमारियों का जिसमें डिमेंशिया और पार्किंसंस साथ में हो सकता है. तो ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है और आपको वॉच रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, मगर आप जब फॉलोअप के लिए अपने डॉक्टर के पास जाओगे तो वो ज़रूर इसके लिए स्क्रीनिंग करेंगे. और माइल्ड डिमेंशिया है और अभी तक पार्किंसन सिम्टम्स नहीं आए हैं तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उनको आएंगे. सो ल्यूई बॉडी डिमेंशिया इज द टाइप ऑफ डिमेंशिया वेयर बोथ द थिंग्स विल बी अकरिंग simultaneously. And the second part of the same question, I think, is our psychiatrist has advised Nutripa for us, the children. Should we take it? So, sir, you'll have to address this.
You have passed on the buck to me. Look, first, I don't know why this has been advised to you. If there is some nutritional supplement that is advised to you for prevention of dementia, I don't know of, unless there is a deficiency of vitamin. So unless it is addressing a particular deficiency or a disorder that you are having, so far there is no scientific evidence, robust scientific evidence to say that this particular thing is good at preventing dementia. Since we are talking about dementia, I assume that that is the reason probably why you are asking this question. Again, I have told you that exercise has the highest evidence and the rest of the things that I have enumerated are important, but you should ask your psychiatrist what the medicine is and why is it being given. And I think it's not just with you, but with all of us. I would advise all those who are listening to this, always don't hesitate to ask your doctor why something is being given to you. Why? What is the rationale? So understanding your own medicines and therapy, even lab test, why a lab test is being advised, is always a good thing. And most doctors are very happy to explain to you, and that will also learn to educate not only you, but people around you also. So that's all I have to comment on this, because I don't know the specifics as to why this has been prescribed.
Correct, sir. Thank you so much.